Now, sometimes it can be cumbersome to add a bunch of such checks, and here we already have 3 checks on the header, for example. Certainly something we can add, but maybe not optimal. Instead, to keep our style objects cleaner, we could set up a base header here, for example, header base, and then add header iOS and header Android. And now what we do is we take all these styles, which change based on the platform, out of the base style, add them here to header iOS and header Android. And on header iOS, we only keep, well, the iOS look here. So white. Then this color for the border at the bottom, and a pixel width of 1 for that border. And here on Android, we remove this check and keep color primary as a background color. And on the other hand, we get rid of our border by using these values, or by entirely removing that and not setting it at all. Now we just need to make sure we add header iOS or header Android. And for that, we can go up here and set up our styles object where we merge in all our header base styles now. So these are always set. But now in addition, we can merge in the result of platform select, which now is a method which takes an object where we have to specify an iOS key and point at the value, or in this case, the object we want to use if we're on iOS, which is styles.header iOS, and add an Android key and point at styles.header Android. And with that, we're telling React Native, please merge in the properties of the value, in this case, an object, we're selecting for iOS and for Android. So you always have to pass an object to platform select, and then you have different values for iOS and Android. And the value here could also be a number, just wouldn't work here, because here we actually expect an object so that we can pull out all the property value pairs and pass them to our surrounding style. So here a number doesn't make sense. But you can use select with any kind of value. Here we just need an object, so we're pointing at the header iOS and the header Android objects. And with that, we're having leaner code. We have leaner styles down there. And then we have code with a base style where we then use platform select to dynamically pick different styles based on the platform we're running on. And therefore now we have the same look as before, but now in a more elegant way. Another place in our app where we could take advantage of this is our main button here. Our main button looks and feels the same on both platforms, which isn't horrible, but which also might not be what we want. If we go to our main button.js file, we see we always use touchable opacity here, but actually on Android, we might want to use the ripple effect. Now, thankfully, React Native has the touchable native feedback component built in, which actually gives us a touchable object which has a built-in ripple effect. So we want to use that on Android and touchable opacity on iOS. Now, of course, we can use the platform API, which we therefore also have to import from React Native, to use a different component here based on the platform. And for that, we can use a really neat feature React has, not React Native specific, but we can use it in React in general. We can set up a variable which starts with a capital character so that we can use it as a JSX element, because only capital character variables can be used as JSX elements. And we name this, let's say, button component. The name is totally up to you. And by default, that's touchable opacity. So I point at the touchable opacity object here, without angle brackets, just pointing at it like this. Now we can add a if check and check if platform OS is equal to Android. And important, also check something else on platform. Also check if platform version is greater or equal to 21, because only Android API version 21 or higher supports the ripple effect. So if both is true, then we'll set button component to touchable native feedback. So then we'll use the one with the ripple effect. Otherwise, we'll use the one with the opacity effect. So if we're on Android and the Android version is high enough, it's 21 or higher, then we use touchable native feedback. Now, because I named this with a capital starting character, we can use this here instead of touchable opacity in our JSX code. Looks strange at first, but will work perfectly fine. If we now save this, and this restarts, you'll see now here you have that ripple effect. You can see it if we press and hold. You see that ripple effect on the button. Doesn't look perfect yet because it's actually rectangular and doesn't respect our border radius, and we'll fix that, but it works. And on the other hand, here on iOS, we have the opacity effect, as you can tell if we press this. So now let's fix the border radius. And we can do so by wrapping this with another view. And that's just a little hack, a little workaround you need to be aware of. We wrap this with another view where I set a style of, let's say, button container. Add that style down there in our style sheet. And on that button container here, which is now wrapped around everything, I set the same border radius as I set on the button, so 25 in this case here. And I add overflow hidden, which means that any child component that would go beyond the boundaries of this component, so of the component with this style, is basically clipped. And this will ensure that the ripple effect, which is now a child component of this view, will be clipped, on the rounded edges of this button. So now if we save this and we retry this, you'll see that the ripple effect only fills out the button, which of course looks way better. And on iOS, of course, we still have the same behavior as before. So using the platform here in a if check is also something we can do. We can also use this neat trick here to render totally different components based on the platform we're running on.